who's going to be taken away and who's going to be left up for the choice this time around. Millenium once again banning out Lulu as a first choice. Will NiP stick with Jax? Yes, they will. Jax first ban out for them. Over on the other side, Millenium sticking with Thresh as well, so not really a change here when it comes to the ban tactics. Kha'Zix as well gone.
Nothing new, same bans coming in. I believe Twisted Fate from Millenium would be a good option as the last one. They actually do ban away, so...
And live long. I mean,
same bans.
If they're going to change anything, maybe you'd say now is the time to do it. There is the LeBlanc ban actually coming through as well, which leaves now
so Soraka is open.
Soraka is open once again. Will Millenium think about that here? Last game we obviously saw Soraka coming out as a last pick for Curb in that mid lane. Are they going to go Soraka here? I mean, they're probably going to have to pick it before the Ninjas in Pyjamas mid lane anyway, so I'm guessing they're going to leave that till last for the option of the counter pick. So far hovering over Lucian.
I like this first pick though, because Creaton really showed he likes to play Lucian. It's his number 180 carry, and you don't actually show anything by first picking Lucian. You just get a very strong pick on your team. They went for Evelyn in game 1 when they had first pick, and it didn't work out for them at all. So this time around, don't want to show the jungler yet. Taking the AD carry, not showing anything combo-wise, composition-wise, and of course, we talked about it in the last game, how Lucian, he brings everything to the table. Also very good if you get to a 75-minute point where you just need to hit the turret.
For NiP then here. Are they going to change up things? Elise was in their first round of picks from game number 1, of course. For Hilberto there is.
And it worked really well.
Jungler of choice in there as well if Kha'Zix isn't available. And Irelia for Zoro0. We saw how many problems he really gave to Kevin in that early game. Of course, by the end, Ryze got to his position where Ryze is at his best anyway.
Yeah, well, early game went heavily in favor of Zoro0, especially also with the gank from Hilberto. So I like to pick up again, and Irelia is not bad in teamfights. She's fine in teamfights. So if NiP want to change up the tactic and not only focus on split push, then Irelia is a very strong pick because she can do both. She can fill both roles here. So I like it. And of course, Elise for Hilberto. Played the game 1. Great success. Really worked well with the whole TF Leona. A lot of CC combined together. Now, of course, they got the stun from Zoro0 and then the cocoon from Hilberto.
So Ryze was locked in again. We're going to be seeing Kevin once again playing that Ryze, and looks like no change in the jungle either. Cortenex, who had a good game on that Nocturne, the first time that we've seen him really performing outside of a Kha'Zix pick.
He was very, very good in the last game. He was the reason Millenium at least could stay somewhat with NiP, because he was actually 4-0 at a point where there was like, I believe Millenium had 5 kills, he had 4 of them. So he obviously did very, very good job. Always after the first few levels, once he got the ultimate, he was always at the right point at the right time. So he could always come in with his ultimate, pick up a kill here, trying to do the same. Of course, Millenium going the same picks here, so obviously they're looking to go towards the late game once again. Soraka again is still open, they can pick it in, and wow, this is going to be Velko's support for Miffy. He's actually played it again. He played in Copenhagen games, in one of the games, and combined it with a Corgi, you have a lot of damage, like a lot. Your laning phase, you really bring a lot of damage. However, Velko's very low mobility, like there's nothing. If you get caught out of position, you are dead.
You have to flash, that's for sure. What am Millenium going to run against? Because this is a very different lane. We've not seen Corgi at all in the European LCS. We have seen him appear in a couple of different
OGN and
OGN, yeah, exactly.
NA plays him.
Just not really made his mark back in Europe, which is funny because we did have a time where Europe were the only ones playing Corgi as well. So this time around, Velkoz's Corgi bottom lane for the Ninjas in Pyjamas seems to have caught Millenium possibly a little bit off guard here, taking a while to lock in those final picks. We are going to see by the looks of it Kerp going back to Ziggs, which we mentioned wasn't a champion that he really played in the early season here, in the early spring split, but he has picked it up a couple of times, and also Leona here for Jerry.
So the Leona pick here can really shut down Velkos. I mean, if you land your CC onto him, he won't be able to escape. It also gives Millenium some very good engage combined with the Nocturne. And then, of course, you have wave clear from Lucian, wave clear from Ryze, wave clear from Ziggs. He's one of the best in the game at doing it. So Millenium here, again, looking to go for team fights, looking to go late game, where they can just, if they fall behind, they can once again try and extend the game. and then just wait for NiP or wait to the point where they outscale NiP. Because Corki as an AD carry, he's not bad in the late game, but he just doesn't scale as well into late game as some of the other AD carries. And also, one of the reasons the European AD carries don't actually like Corki normally is because your one-on-one potential is not ideal, simply due to the fact your ultimate doesn't bring too much in a 1v1. And that's why the European AD carries, that's one of the reasons I got at least, for not picking up the Corki here. But Freeze did pick it, and with an Italy, the mid game now for NiP, that's a lot of poke. Like Corki is great in the mid game, so much damage, a lot of poke. Vel'Koz, of course, with a lot of poke in the mid game. NiP are just looking here to win the laning phase and then just start grouping up and just poke away onto Millenium with Solar Zero split pushing in the lane, joining in with Teleport. Again though, if Millenium can manage to hold them off, go all the way to the late game point like we saw before, then Millenium once again will have the stronger team by far actually.
And I have a very much opposite kind of composition here. The likes of the Nocturne Leona are going to throw everything straight in there. Ziggs can throw his ultimate down in that one. So going to be interesting to see whether Ninjas in Pyjamas #1 can get that lead. I have to say the feeling from games 1 and 2 is that they have had those stronger early games. So it's going to be up to Millenium to see how they match that this time around.
It's going to be hard though for Nukedog in the mid lane against Ziggs. I mean, Italy, she's not a laning champion. She needs to get out of the laning phase where she can start poking away. So Ziggs is going to have a lot of pressure on her there. He's might need help from someone like Alberto to actually, if they want to get Nukedog ahead, of course, in the lane. Might just be happy with him farming away, and that's it.
Well, we are going to be getting here into game number 3. The score, of course, tied at 1 match apiece here between Ninjas in Pyjamas and Millenium. Who's going to move into the lead from this one? We're seeing some interesting choices coming out. Quick question in terms of those duo lanes, since we're seeing that Corki Vel'Koz lane, do they want to go 2v2 here?
Well, the thing for both of them, so with all the poke here on NiP side, as long as they avoid the engage from Jerry, Leona won't do anything to them. Like, they can just poke him every time he tries to do something with a lot of damage. But however, if Connect shows up, if the CC lands in from Jerry, then again, the Vel'Koz is going to be such an easy target for them to lock down. So in that case, it can be risky for NiP here. Lane swap-wise, Elise is a very strong lane swap jungler, so NiP should be happy with it. It does mean, however, that Nukedog won't be getting any help in the mid lane, as the junglers will be busy pushing the towers early on, which means that Ziggs can put a lot of, just pretty much push the wave into the tower for Nukedog and just poke away on them all the time without thinking about the jungler for the first 5-6 minutes.
56% of the vote going to Ninjas in Pyjamas. That has dropped considerably since pre-game and after the first couple of games here as well. So I see you guys at home feeling it a little bit more for Millenium. See what that is, because we've got at least one more game after this one, of course. Needing 3 out of those best of 5 games to take the victory and move through into the summer split of the LCS. About level 1, we've seen Ninjas in Pyjamas in both games so far, doing this route around to the red buff on both sides, getting the ward down, and then backing away and looping over to the opposite side of things. So, not sure if we're going to see that here. We see Creatine is actually waiting. It's a line across the map from both teams.
Yeah, both teams just staying back. NiP didn't really feel like they could do anything with their composition level 1 here, so didn't want to risk anything. We talked about how Leona, of course, can lock down a target, Ryze can lock down a target. It can be very scary to go into someone like Millenium. We are going to get standard lanes here. No lane swaps at all, no lane invades. It's very rare we see that here on 4.5.
Not often whatsoever. Not seen it too well. I say not seen it today. Game number 2, we had a 2v2 up on the top side, so they at least switched where they were going to do the 2v2 in that one. Interesting to see, though, how this Vel'Koz Corki lane is going to work out. And there is the initial poke, actually landing onto both Creatine and J-Ree. Nice little confidence booster, I think, when you hit those initial skill shots.
And it's very, very hard for Creatine and J-Ree to do anything here in the early game. You also see how NiP put all the focus on hitting Creatine. They don't even care about J-Ree, because Leona, she needs a few levels before she can actually go in towards you, and that's where NiP can just poke away, get him so low that he won't be able to do anything, and that's what they're doing now. Early level 2, only level 1 here on the side of Creatine. Needs to stay back and just try and pick up as much farm as possible.
Now we see again landing those skill shots. Mithy, we did see both junglers going in and pretty much having a standard route. Both starting red, headed down towards blue as Creatine takes another big hit. I'm going to try and get that plasma fission in there is Mythic. See if they can actually land any more of these. As you said, earlier level 2 in there. In fact, Creatine stood a little bit out of XP range during that because he was so low. He's still yet to hit that level 2 point. There it is, but NiP are already doing damage to the tower.
And this combo they can do where NiP knocks up a target and then you land the Phosphor Bomb, the Q from free to 100% is very, very strong. And you see how Alberto moving down here early on, simply to be ready for a counter game because they are putting so much pressure on the lane. So they expected Codnex to be there. He wasn't, and Alberto just moves away up towards his own Wolf camp now.
Cotnex just getting the farm going, of course. Had a good one, had a good game in our last matchup in his best of 5. Got himself up to that Feral Flare quickly. 0-0 actually taking a lot of damage here from Kevin, who's seemingly feeling more confident now in this top lane with, you know, feeling that Alberto will be down bottom anyway, ready for a counter game.
So this was what I expected to happen in the last game of this Rise pick, but because Alberto was there early and killed him, Kevin fell behind and 0-0 just extended his lead. And I like what Kevin did here actually. He decided to, as soon as he saw 0-0 recall, he did the same thing to buy his tier, teleport back to the lane, of course, to the tower, so it's reduced cooldown, and therefore not staying in the lane, staying for too long, and then give 0-0 a chance to farm.
Continuing to be a threat for Millenium in the bottom lane. Creatine again going incredibly low. They need to be so careful about this one. A knock up from Mythy will pretty much seal his death at this stage. Although also keep in mind that both AD carries running that summoner heal. Both mid laners actually running that. The supports continue the trend from the last game, which was to run the exhaust.
So much poke from NiP all the time. Of course, the mana cost for Vel'Koz is not really an issue for him. He can spam away the Q here in the early game. That's what we've seen Mythy do, of course, with the Spell Thief, getting some extra damage, getting some gold. Creatine had to recall, instantly NiP pushed the wave in, make sure to deny as much CS as possible, and now they can recall themselves or this freeze can.
Just throwing as much as he could off towards Jerry here. We'll go back off into that brush and start his recall. This mid lane being quiet as we expected. Actually, Nukeduck in the lead in the mid lane so far.
So of course there's a big wave for Kirby here, so he should at least be evening up in CS, but generally speaking, you want to beat an Italy early game, especially with Zex here. But so, very good job by Nukeduck, keeping even in farm.
40-41 on that one as another wave comes in. No real interaction from the junglers so far when it comes to this mid lane game either. Top lane, of course, we did see 0-0 go low a little bit earlier on. He's picked up a second Doran's Blade on that recall, so he'll be feeling a little bit stronger up against Kevin now. And again, the jungler's not been there this time either.
Both junglers have been farming up here. Remember, of course, with the Madrids already actually from the Machete, you start stacking up towards this Feral Flare. You just don't see the number yet. So Codnex happy just farming away, getting his level 6. And notice all the mana potions here for NiP. They really focus on poking a lot in the laning phase and being aggressive, so they need this mana here. So 0 as well actually picked one up.
Mana pots overall. And actually, the mid lane, Nukeduck did try and get in there. Did about half HP to each other. Of course, Nukeduck does have that heal on his E as well, which will give him a little bit more staying power in this mid lane, especially if he can land a couple of decent spears onto Kerp. That'll force him a lot earlier to go back, and actually should be recalling here shortly. Meanwhile, Alberto coming up. Is he going to go for a two-man dive on that top lane, or is it all about the blue buff? Which we have to say, in game 1 specifically, NiP dominated the control off.
And look here, 0-0 once again pushed down the top wave, and then he moves in with the team. Kevin actually used his ultimate to clear the wave, but he's out of mana. He can teleport in, but there's no mana here, so if they start the blue instantly, he won't be able to join. One thing we do have to notice though, well, okay, the blue buff actually wasn't up yet because Codnex started red.
Yeah. Started red, so no blue for them to even take here, even though they got into that position for it. And did they leave a ward behind? No, they didn't. So they're not going to see actually when that comes back up.
But look at this, level 6 now Nocturne, very early on, just been farming his jungle all the time. And at the same, look also at the farming difference between him and Alberto here. So far ahead, Nocturne's clear speed is very good. So Codnex starting out very strong again. Still staying around his bottom lane. There we go! No, we don't.
There we go, almost. Jerry missing the Zenith plane. If that had landed though, that would have been the follow-up that they wanted from CottonX. Creighton again takes a phosphorus bomb. Are they going to keep trying to get involved in this one? Nocturne is still waiting around the side, and there it is, Jerry managing to get in towards Freeze, but it's Mithy that they want to turn around for. Exhaust goes on to Freeze the Fear, going to slow down Mithy, but there's a teleport coming in the back. Creighton goes low, a lot of damage. First blood comes in for Freeze, and now they turn it back around. CottonX is going to go down here as well. It's Zoro0 that picks that one up, and there we see how much these teleports can turn around the fight.
Very good use of teleport. Kevin still got his teleport, actually decided to push the wave. He needs to be careful. Roberto's coming up here with Nuke Dog.
A lot of damage onto Nuke Dog, but they should be able to hold this one off. That's a good dodge from Kevin of the spear and of the cocoon as Jerry gets knocked up behind the tower. Freeze actually got the aggro from it though, so Jerry is safe for now, but needs to be real careful about where he hangs around. Did just hit 6, so the Solar Flare giving him a bit more protection, would have been able to lock them up under the turret if they'd have dove for him.
But we have to highlight the fact that Jerry, his engage was actually onto Freeze, who then jumped out, and then the flash from Miffy meant he didn't get stun locked by Jerry. So it meant when CottonX actually came in, they had to chase Miffy up. Krierson couldn't even join the fight. He tried to run with them. He never really got any damage onto them because the engage was first onto Freeze, and then they had to switch it over. They wanted to target, of course, straight onto Vel'Koz, and they didn't. So it also bought time for Zoro0 to teleport down, and Kevin decided not to teleport.
Pressure from Zoro0, and actually the satchel moves them both in unison back towards that tower. In the end, not a massive damage done either side of things, but will they start to move up towards that blue? Even if they do, a little bit too late on that front of it. Back down into that bottom lane with Creighton. Of course, a kill for Freeze. He's got that Vamp Scepter, got himself the BF sword as well, along with Boots of Speed. A full BF sword behind is Creighton, and we already saw how much poke damage he was taking, mainly from Mithy and then the Phosphorus Bomb. Really bad news in that bottom lane. You can see that CottonX already moving down there to try and stop any further pressure, but also this Dragon that they've just spotted Roberto pulling out. So
Roberto feels confident he can start this Dragon because his dual lane is so far ahead compared to the one from Millenium, and also a Spear from Nuke Dog in the face of Kerp. CottonX though, again, actually, he needs to be the guy helping out the bottom lane. They just abandoned now. They're going straight towards mid here.
And, well, Nuke Dog just going to be knocked back towards safety and landing a good amount of spears here as well. Keeping everyone a little bit on tenterhooks on how far forward they can actually push in this middle lane. Especially if it hits someone like Creighton. That's like half HP just going to go away from him. He has to stick behind that minion wave. But what they've done here is move to middle, completely left that bottom lane open. And the Dragon.
They couldn't stay in the bottom lane because, again, the BF sword, you mentioned yourself, they were so far behind. They had to rotate mid. They're sending Kerp down to the bottom lane now so he can hold the wave. He's going to ultimate on the wave, clearing it away from the tower, but NiP doesn't take Dragon. CottonX in top though.
Gonna go on towards Zoro0. Is forced to flash away. Kevin, Rune Prison not coming back up quick enough for him. Zoro0 able to just walk away from danger. So another Dragon here, another perfect start in terms of Dragon control for the ninjas in Pyjamas. Come to expect nothing less of them really after these last two games, where certainly in the early game and really all the way through they've had complete Dragon control.
Millenium should just have sent Kerp back to mid lane, so he was there with Creighton and Jerry and just went straight for the tower once NiP actually moved away from it, because yes, he can wave to the bottom lane here, but they need to get the tower down in mid lane. They can't just let Nuke Dog continue to farm up. And they could have kept him there, trade tower for tower, and obviously getting the mid tower is a very big deal, especially also because the bottom tower is already very low.
Bloodthirster is actually done here for Freeze, and still no BF sword there for Creighton, although I believe he should have 1400 gold, so he's not actually got enough for that BF sword at this stage of the game, which is a worrying sign to say the least. Falling behind in laning phase against a poke siege combo is very, very dangerous in the long run.
Very, very scary stuff for Millenium, but again, we saw in the last game they managed to just defend, get to the late game where the comp was very, very strong, and it's the same deal here. I mean, they want to go to this late game point. Freeze down the bottom lane, Miffy actually left him, moved up towards the mid lane to join in with Nuke, and Freeze, he's just doing a lot of damage on the curve here.
knows that big bomb coming through as well. Wave clear though from Kerp, of course, strong there with Ziggs. So he's able to, at least for now, hold on to that turret, but they need to move to middle as well, because this can be quickly pushed through from the 3-man push here of NiP, and there we do see Mega Inferno Bomb coming across, wiped all but one minion out.
Kirsten had to actually go back and get his BF sword, that's why he wasn't there to defend, and Kerp had to use his ulti. Clear out the wave. Nuke now rotating to the bottom lane. They really want this bottom lane turret, and I think it's a good move.
And they should pretty much get it there. Minions wiped out a little bit, and look at this, Kevin is at half HP. Alberto coming through, he lands the cocoon, but sadly for him it was onto the minion. That allows Kevin to just simply walk back under his tower now with those minions starting to diminish in numbers. Stay safe. Meanwhile, Mythic, you see the damage that he can still clear out these waves despite being the support that he is.
Yeah, this is the support clearing the wave. We see how fast he can actually do it, forcing crits on the way. Also, of course, Freeze rotating up here. The bot lane turret is very, very low now. They got some more damage on it. Didn't actually kill it though. Instead, sending Freeze into here to try and deny some more CS from Crescent. Don't want to give Crescent the chance to just farm up against the Nidalee.
0-0 already being ganked once on this top side. Now that's going to happen for him here again, down to half HP. Is he going to get locked up? There is the fear going off. This is a kill for Millenium. He goes over to Kevin on Rise.
Perfect play by Connex. Coming all the way up here. No flash. He used it, or 0-0 had to use it before on the game from Connex. And the most important thing, Connex didn't use his ultimate. He just walked straight in, got the kill here so he can get the tower, and then he can apply pressure somewhere else.
Which could well be the middle lane here. We already see him starting to back down, leave Kevin on his own there on that top side. Kevin playing the smart game here and letting those minions actually go down to the turret before he takes it out there. Just deny a bit more farm to 0-0. That mid lane successfully defended for now.
Yeah.
Bottom lane being held onto as well, and that's the difficult thing with the Ziggs. His wave clear very, very strong. He has landed a spear here though, Nuke. Will he keep going through? Or does he just want to get rid of this tower? By forcing him away, should be able to secure the first one in the game for NiP.
And one thing we have to remember, if Connex sets up a gank somewhere, 0-0 won't be able to teleport in instantly because he won't have any vision of anything down there. And that means for Millenium they have this room of 2-3 seconds where they can try and pick up the kill in the gank before there's a chance of teleport coming. Also Kevin, of course, he can teleport instantly because he will have the vision. So Millenium can quickly put many members in one spot and NiP won't be able to respond.
Now, continued push from NiP. 3 men, make that 4 now in the mid lane. Nuke coming in, and this is where it gets very hard to hold on to with spears flying in, with the poke out of Vel'Koz, with the bombs from Corki and that. All that damage it wants. If it lands like 2 of those skill shots in a row, then you're already at half HP or less and you have to retreat from it. We can see that Kerp is there. He's probably going to be forced to use his ultimate when it comes off cooldown once again. Trying his best here to keep that away, but now they've got 0-0 with them as well.
So all 5 members in here, 0-0 didn't want to stay in the top lane. His tower is gone. And also if Connex moves up there with his own ultimate, 0-0 could potentially die again. However, the flash is ready. Just a few seconds, should be able to escape the gank then. But NiP, because they got the bot lane tower, rotating mid now with the poke comp and just doing what they can, or at least trying something, but Kerp doing a good job wave clearing.
Clearing out his waves one after another. Actually 162 to 151 CS, so has built up a little bit of a lead over Nuke, but again, credit to Nuke, he kept it very, very level for the pretty much entire phase that they were 1 versus 1 in that middle lane. One big difference though, again, between the AD carries, something that we'd expect after Freeze did get such a big lead early on, got that early BF sword in that forced Creatine to rotate around the map to have some safer farm in the mid lane. He's 156 to 113 CS in the lead. Both of them though now do have Bloodthirsters, and I can only imagine, yeah, well, just close to 2,000 gold for Freeze to go back and spend next time, and that's not going to be just yet because Dragon is coming up in less than 10 seconds time.
So 2,000 gold on Freeze, multiple members from NiP with over 1,000 gold, which it didn't spend yet, and we might have a Dragon fight here. It means for Millenium, they're actually in a lot better position. Everyone has been back to base and shopping. They can take this fight because NiP got so much gold in the back that does nothing at the moment.
A big spear or 2 though could change all that, as we do see a lot of damage to Jerry as he gets knocked up. The spears continue to come through. There's Kevin down to half health. The Dragon now spawned in and ready to be taken. what can NiP do about this one? The bouncing bombs causing them a few issues. Finally, a pink ward will clear out the vision there in the Death Brush, and Millenium have decided, okay, do we let them have the Dragon? Let's put some pressure on this mid turret. He's fairly low anyway. We'll see how much clearage they can actually manage there with Vel'Koz in that mid lane. Just as NiP start things off, Millenium sweep back down there, stop them doing the Dragon, and they're going to play this game for a little while they go between mid lane and trying to pressure NiP away from the Dragon itself.
Yeah, but Millenium again, they got a good position. They can rotate towards mid lane if they want to. NiP though, the Dragon going very low. Here goes Jerry.
Oh, there's the Solar Flare. Didn't really catch many of them, but there is the extra damage coming through. Zoro going low. Alberto's going to die to Cornex, and Zoro needs to get away as well. NiP now coming in from the side. There is the laser, not doing masses of damage, but a spear comes through and lands on Cornex. Doesn't get the kill, but he will stay low. And now Nukeduck in chase, just so Creaton there. Spear lands onto him as well. He can keep chasing here. He knows that those spears already doing good amounts of damage. Cornex trying to lifesteal, taking a lot of damage from the trap there that he just stood on. Also giving Nukeduck the complete vision on that side. Creaton turning around. Now J-Ree's gonna come in. Good flash from Nukeduck, gets him away from the Zenith player.
So NiP here actually split up before the fight started, so the Nocturne ultimate is just, it's so powerful. If you're not standing as a group, there was no way for Millenium to come in here and help his team. They got the kill onto Alberto, and of course we have to remember, NiP didn't shop yet. There's so much gold on the side of NiP that didn't spend it. So Millenium are actually stronger at the moment, and that's what we saw in the last fight.
Well, Dragon is going to be started off here once again. Who's going to be able to take this one? It's going very, very low. Look at Nocturne, bottom side. Cornex is going to come around, and he actually managed to smite it out as well. Alberto being trapped in there. NiP trying to turn this one around. Creaton goes low. One more spear from the side would do it here. And we see that Nukeduck trying to get to the back of that Baron pit, trying to get in. Oh, what a Mega Inferno bomb from Kerp. Comes off cooldown, almost took Miffy with Zoro as well.
But again, it's so weird by NiP here. They tunnel so hard on this Dragon, but they don't even need to get it at the moment. They were ahead. They had so much gold to use. They could have gone into the mid lane here, trying to hold off Millenium from starting the Dragon, get some members back to shop and get back in here. Look here, 2,400 gold on Freeze, 2,000 gold on Nukeduck. Zoro just spent these, I believe he had 2,000 gold as well. And then we just see Millenium here in the actual team fights. As long as they can just back out a little bit, land some poke onto NiP, or engage when NiP split up, they were just so much stronger. And nice ultimate by Curve in the end as well.
Well, what came through there with those purchases? We saw the Mikhail's Crucible for Miffy. You mentioned Zoro had a good chunk of gold. He actually picked up the Trinity Force, the Phage as well, coming out from Freeze, who's gone with those Sorceress used to capitalize on the magic damage that comes out of his poke. And as you mentioned, if they'd have had those items in there, the Trinity Force for Irelia, it would have been a massive difference.
Massive difference. But then, of course, again, ninjas in pajamas need to land some poke before the fight actually starts. Like, that's what they need to do with Corki with in Italy, where Millenium can go more all in.
They go all in here. Sorry, it is so tantalizingly low for Millenium. Very much a target that they'll be wanting to get in these next few minutes. Cornex just waiting on top of a pink ward, so he knows he's not spotted. Looking for any kind of opportunity maybe in that mid lane. Doesn't really present itself though, and he's going to go back off to get his farming going. Feral Flare already coming out for him.
Yeah, he's very, very strong. Going towards the Blade King again, and now also to Miffy.
Wow, that is a lot of damage. Last second heal from Nukeduck keeps him alive though. That's a lot of poke, and it's going to take away the potential that Miffy has there to help with that wave clear. We see the blue buff came up. This is a possible chance for Millenium, while it would be if they'd not actually backed away completely from that mid tower.
And the big kills actually from Miffy. Managed to save him here, but I just wanted to talk about Cornex. Almost doubling the farm of Alberto at the moment. His Feral Flare is very, very stacked. Of course, gets stronger and stronger the more he farms. Going towards Blade King again, we saw in the last game how strong he was in these fights. And whenever he could find a target, it's going to be the same deal here. I mean, Cornex is going to be so hard for NiP to deal with.
Speaking of Cornex, he's just waiting in range of an ultimate off towards Zoro. He still doesn't have that flashback up, so he'd be a target if he'd not already moved away. It looks like NiP might want to make a numbers game push on this middle turret, but again we see the strength of this Millenium team in wave clear. Before it really gets into tower range, it's already down.
NiP are not looking to just take the wave into the tower and just get a few hits on it. They're looking to land some poke, force someone from Millenium to go back to base, and therefore being able to take the tower from NiP's side. But yeah, again, they need to land the spears from Nukedog, they need to land the poke from Freeze before they can actually do it. And then of course they need to make sure Zora Zero can actually stay in this lane and split push. At the moment, Connex, he's been staying for quite a while actually, to try and, if Zora Zero did anything, if he moved too far, Connex would be ready to jump him.
Funnily enough, the moment where Zora Zero does come out there, Connex had already backed off, and he's got Nidalee now moving on to this top lane. So Nukedog is going to be in a position, spotting Rise out there. Spear didn't actually land onto him, and Kevin really got the better of that one, using his sweeper lens to clear out the vision. He, of course, already has his Rod of Ages done. That T have been stacking for quite a while now, and he's going to be moving himself quickly up towards the Archangels. And of course, the Xeraths, once that is fully stacked for him. But we've come back into a bit more of a passive farming phase at this stage of things. NiP trying to get some vision control here, though, on that bottom side of the map. There's 2 minutes or 1 minute 40 until that next dragon comes into play. So that's going to be interesting. Actually, J-Ree is going to step forward, manages to catch out Nukedog. They pile everything on top as Kevin comes from the backside. Myth is going to go down, and that will be a 1 for nothing there instantly from Millenium. J-Ree went low, but Low is still not dead in this one. Alberto just tried to get around there as well. That has, however, opened up some damage onto the mid turret, but it doesn't quite fall for NiP.
And once again, we see Millenium here. Whenever they want to start a fight, you'll land the ultimate from J-Ree, you pop the ultimate from Codnex, teleport in from Kevin, and NiP are just, it's so hard for them to do anything because of the Nocturne ultimate, because of the CC coming in and all the damage as well. You see Curb every time throwing his ultimate with the ultimate from J-Ree. So team fights very, very strong for Millenium, pulling ahead in goal as well, and just looking very strong. And for them, even if there's a passive moment where they can just farm, it's just fine because their late game comp is very, very good.
Codnex, actually, you see how dangerous this Nocturne is. That is the tower going down. Blade of the Ruined King making short work of that one. Alberto couldn't actually get across in time to stop that one from happening. Almost 2,000 gold is the lead that Millenium have. Let's not forget the last dragon. Codnex smited away in the very last second. So technically it's theirs to have this time around. They got a pink ward in there. We'll see if they can fight for more positional advantage on that area of the map here with less than, or just about 10 seconds to go until the next one comes in.
At this time, the only member from NiP with a lot of gold is Freeze. The rest of them actually had gone back and shopped beforehand. We see Zora Zero coming down, getting a lot more tanky for this. Starting it up, Rise is in the top lane, there's no teleport, so he won't be able to join. This should be a dragon for NiP, but Millenium is close by.
Unless Codnex is able to do anything about this one. In fact, he has stepped forward. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb, and he's got it again. Codnex smites away the dragon for a second time in a row. Who needs to fight for a dragon if he can just get in there at the last second and pick it up? Freeze actually forced to flash there away from Kevin. This is going to be a dragon and a tower for Millenium. And with a poke siege combo, their NiP falling behind is not in their plan.
Definitely not. Losing 2 dragons they were supposed to get here, also with Elise, who can execute it with a Q and then smite it, not in the plan either here. But Millenium, with the ultimate from Curb and then the smite from Codnex, got another dragon, and they were not supposed to get this one. I mean, Kevin, he was running from the top lane, he wasn't even near, and yet they actually managed to pick it up. So very, very good stuff for Millenium here, looking very good in game 3.
And that's the thing about Ninjas in Pyjamas. If you remember back to before game 1, quite a while ago by now, we talked about how their dragon taking statistics when losing pretty much abysmal. They do not get any control and do not therefore get any of those dragons. When they're winning, it's a completely different story. They dominate on that front. This is a great sign for Millenium, especially when NiP have a comp that if they do start to fall behind, they can't play the way that that comp is supposed to.
It's very, very hard for them. Again, if you look at the wave clear, okay, they got Vel'Koz this time with a lot of wave clear. Corgi, of course, can't be some of the wave, but they're going very aggressive on Kevin here.
Laser coming through as well. I'm not sure that Kevin's getting away from this one with so many men actually onto him. Zora Zero just dashing out of that tower aggro range. Comes back in. This turret is going down. That's the second one of the game for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Millenium, of course, already have 3, and look at the map, actually. Creatine has pushed this bottom lane all the way up. We've already seen that Cottonex can kill these towers very, very quickly. I think they've got this one. We have
Cottonex want to die. As soon as Freeze shows himself, if he moves too far down, Cottonex's going to go for him.
There he is, diving straight in onto him. That's a good Valkyrie away from Freeze. Gets him out of range of the turret, though, and that's what Millenium maybe just wanted here. They're going to take that turret down, but they have to move. Cottonex is going to catch a lot of damage. Nuke Duck dives onto him. There is the heal coming out, and now Creatine running for his life. Zoro0 onto him, gets the slowdown, and it is Zoro0 that gets the kill in the end.
So they actually managed to chase up on them here. Creatine decided not to use his flash because Zoro0 was already on him and he was so low. But we did see Cottonex here forcing Freeze away from the tower, away from the minions, so Creatine could pick it up for them. But the mid lane is now open. No AD carry for Millenium. Ziggs is not even close. Ultimate is ready, however. He can use it down in case it's needed.
Man, well, Kevin had his ulti as well. He just blasting through that wave that had pushed up. NiP deciding to walk away. So, 3,000 gold, the lead here for Millenium. The first time, actually, that they've had a lead coming out of the laning phase into the mid-game.
But it's, again, when you get 2 dragons, I would say for free, actually.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they've been doing such a good job whenever there was a chance to get a kill in a fight. They would take it. Like, Jerry would land his ultimate, Cottonex would pop his ultimate, get this 1 kill, never got more than just 1 kill apiece, but still got a kill, got some gold, could go back in the lanes and farm, and we have the tier, of course, been fully stacked by Kevin for a few minutes now. His Rod of Ages should be fully stacked by now as well. So he's really going to be hitting the point where Ryze has become so scary, and of course, even further into the game, better and better for Ryze. We saw him in the last game, how strong he was in the team fights. Great start for him this time, 2 kills, of course. And then again, things are just looking good for Milleniums. NiP's been trying to respond, been trying to get some kills, get a tower, but Millenium continue to be ahead in gold also because, again, 2 dragons, which they shouldn't have gone.
So this turret, NiP feels like for about 20 minutes now, been trying their best to get this middle outer turret. Still yet to succeed and actually take that one down. We can see that they're closing in a little bit there on the Millenium jungle. Got a couple of deep wards in there as well. We're trying to catch someone out in that area. Cottonex, who once again having a fine game on this Nocturne. And that's the problem now. When he's brought 2 great Nocturne games in a row, you think, okay, do we get rid of Nocturne? But then who do you leave open? Do you let him have the Kha'Zix? Do you pick the Kha'Zix? Do you pick the Nocturne maybe?
So, I don't agree with the LeBlanc ban from NiP. I don't feel like they have to take it away from Curve. I think Nuke Duck should be able to handle him, even though he plays the one. And instead should have gone for something else. I mean, we talked about Soraka in the last game. They didn't pick a Distic game, so obviously NiP chose the right thing by not banning it. But Nocturne then for next game could be an option because it's been a big issue for them dealing with Cottonex on this champion.
Oh, there is that turret finally going down. It's taken an age really to get rid of that final outer turret here from NiP's, from Millenium's map. Interesting now how NiP start to get the vision in there, because with this poke comp, if you've got vision of people in their own jungle, you can surprise them with those spears being thrown in there. We'll have to see how that all works out though. For now, they sent a couple of guys back to spend a little bit of that gold that they've been really hogging throughout this game. We've mentioned already 2 or 3 times where they've looked to step up to a dragon and had maybe a little bit too much gold on them that wasn't spent, and obviously they're not effective gold. We've got 20 seconds here again for that dragon coming. There's 1,000 gold again to spend for Corki. We'll have to see how this one goes. NiP are already in position. We've seen already that apparently position doesn't matter for Cottonex. He's stolen away the last 2. Again, he's going to have to come in from the bottom side of the map if he wants to get in there to steal this one. Actually, Kevin is a mile away, but teleport is off cooldown, so he can rejoin this fight should he need to.
Should he need to, indeed. And Millenium, they're going to feel confident. The only issue here is actually Curve being down to 50%, so he needs to stay far back just poking away. But due to how the last few fights have gone, Millenium should feel confident enough fighting for this one. Look again for Cottonex to start the engage, and then with Jerry, and then the teleport coming in from Kevin. If he can get around the backside here, we see him go towards Miffy, just destroying him instantly. He can do it again. Now he pushed the wave all the way up here. And he managed to get some good damage. No, he backs away. Want to teleport. Here we go.
Here we go, teleport. He's going to be coming down there, and there is Nocturne diving into the back. Connex this time, though, going to go down before he can finish off the Dragon. A lot of damage coming through. Mythic getting his laser off, and now the Spears will join as well. In the end, it's only that one for nothing, but this Dragon won't be stolen away by Connex. They focused him instantly when he went in there for that last one. Satchel Charge going to annoy them slightly. They have to wait for that to go through. Alberto, though, smites it out. Expertly done there by NiP.
So a bit of a weird fight for Millenium. Kevin actually teleported behind his own team when Connex engaged in, so he was never part of the fight actually. At the same time, Curb and Creaton, they stayed in the back, just fired away. Jerry didn't even go in with Connex, so he was just left alone, and NiP just piled onto him and killed him.
That brings the gold back to just 1,000 difference onto the NiP. Of course, they knew exactly how much gold in the lead, or behind they were, as it really is. They'd be feeling a lot better about how this game up till now is in fact going down. Seen a couple of more items coming in. Spectre's Carl picked up for Kevin on Rise. Also in there with that Glacial Shroud, got another blasting wand as well. Also some Blast Whisper picked up by Freeze on Corki, so going to be doing that extra bit of damage.
Big power spikes for NiP with both the Last Whisper now and then the Death Cap on Nuke. So once he lands the spear, it is really, really, really gonna hurt. Like if you hit someone like Curb, there's only the Fiends as the magic resistance for him. If he hits Creator, these targets are gonna drop down very fast.
And there it is, onto Jerry. Got a third of his health. Just picked straight off there. Nuke quite happy to be farming up. If you look though at Curb, who's not stopped farming as you expect really from a Ziggs, constant wave clear across the map, even if you want to get your ultimate involved in that one. He's up to 320 CS, most in the game right now. Zoro is going to head up to that bottom lane. He does have teleport as well, so if he called into action, he'll be able to join in there very quickly. Ninjas in Pyjamas with that death cap on Nuke. See if they're feeling confident about maybe pushing the map out a little bit further.
They can't really push up unless they land some poke first, because then if they push up without any poke being landed, Millenium can always just engage. Yeah, they can just engage and they're going to be very, very strong. So NiP, they need to land a few things before they can even move towards Millenium, or they can try and out-rotate them on the map. They got full control of this Baron area here, but they don't exactly have a comp to just destroy the Baron, at least not at the moment.
Void Staff is going to help that poke if it lands. Always the big question. So Nuke just added that in a moment ago. Also should probably mention Zoro. He's the one with most of the kills on his side. 4-2-0, Trinity Force, Randuin Zoman, got a pickaxe in there along with Spectre's Cowl again. Bit of damage there onto Connex, but he's not in too much danger at this stage. However, these spears are very close, and that would have been max range there onto Kerp as well. That is not the kind of spear that you want to catch with NiP actually waiting around Baron. This is a nice area of the map if they've got full vision control of luring Millenium in there to land that poke. I mean, they've got basically two routes from their jungle to check Baron. Makes it a lot easier to land those spears.
There's so much poke on the side of NiP, and there's no teleporting Kevin yet, so he won't be able to join in at least. But that's also why Millenium don't actually move inside the Baron area, just stay back a little bit, making sure they show NiP they're nearby, so NiP won't start the Baron. But at the same time, they don't want to commit because Kevin won't be able to join. He's actually run all the way from bottom lane up here now. Zero done the same thing. So everyone in the same area. Again, we need some... Oh, here's the engage though.
Gonna go straight towards Zoro. Pretty much just left alone there. They are gonna throw the Solar Flare through as well. There is the bomb as well from Ziggs, but it's not enough damage to finish off Zoro. Millenium instead now gonna run straight for this middle inner turret.
A lot of heals from NiP. Make sure that Zoro could actually stay alive, but he needs to recall, and this turret here can take a lot of damage.
And probably go down. Look at it, half of its health already removed. There is the laser coming through, and it's not quite enough damage there
Teleport.
to pick any up. Kill. Yeah, cancelled there. And Zoro really feeling, okay, I can come through for this one. And alright, they're already further up the map, or further up the lane than I think he expected from that one. Decides not to join. Had actually picked up the Zephyr there as he did go back and heal himself up. We've got another Dragon coming in 140. Obviously, that's going to be the next big target for this game.
So we did get to see, still, pretty tanky Zoro here. A lot of members from Millenium went towards him. And then, of course, with the Mikhails, heal from NiP with the heal from Nuke. And actually managed to stay alive. I believe Summoner heal was probably used as well for someone like freezing onto 4-0, making sure he stayed alive. So NiP invested a lot into it, but at least they got the ultimate from Codex, which is going to be up fairly soon again. Still though, you see Millenium, whenever they're feeling healthy, they just engage. Like, they don't even care who they go for, they just engage because they know they are so strong. And to be fair though, well, we have to point it out, Nuke, his spears in the last 10 minutes, not being connected.
Not being connected, and it doesn't matter how much damage they do if they don't land. They're not going to help you whatsoever in that game. And we actually saw Kevin move to that bottom lane. His teleport is back off cooldown, so he's going to be able to draw someone down there from NiP. The fact is, though, it is the Dragon that's coming up here next, so they should be able to just walk up from that bottom lane to actually get involved in it. And you see that Cornex is already waiting there on the bottom side of the map. Ziggs moving away from it.
Blue buff.
Lucian not so close either, so 20 seconds. They're going to have to try and delay NiP until Kerb can come around a little.
Should be in time here. Kerb moving already. 10 seconds still before it spawns. Remember, there's no summoners on Zora 0, so he could be a target for Millenium if he overextends. He's actually going towards Kevin here.
I'm not sure he wants this one though. There is the Nocturne diving in, and Zora 0 will be able to just dash off towards that minion. There's a spear landing. Karnix not able to shield that one out, but now the rest of the team coming around. Jerry throws out his ultimate. A lot of damage coming back. The Cullen will force them away, but ultimate's been burnt left and right here. Will NiP now have enough damage to take down this Dragon quickly? We see that Karnix is still waiting on the bottom side. Engage is gone for them. There's another satchel charge just to annoy them so slightly. It's picked up in the end by Holberto without the use of Smite. Dangerous.
Yeah, but Millenium still... Actually, I didn't use Smite, it was a bit weird. Very risky against the Ziggs. Could have stolen away.
Especially when the satchel charge was there.
But anyway, Zora 0 here went onto Kevin and actually forced out the ultimate from Connex, or baited it out, so he was gone. That's the main engage here, together with Leona from the side of Millenium. And then Jerry tried to land his ultimate, NiP dodged out of it. Kerb tried to land his ultimate, only hit one, I believe, like NiP and maybe Zora 0. So didn't even do too much here, and it meant NiP could then poke back onto Millenium, then take the Dragon. So some missed ultimates from Millenium here, but still showing they are very strong, even though they gave up this Dragon. And both teams are very even in gold.
Really is not much of a difference. 300 or so gold separating the two teams, and we are 40 minutes into this game, so still a very, very close one. One could still go either way. I know I was saying that after 60-something minutes in the last game as well.
76 minutes.
Yeah, it was a long game, and you know the way this one's going now: 5-4 in kills, 4-3 in turrets. Even in gold. You could imagine this one might stretch out a bit as well as they go in towards Nuke. He will actually flash away. Already used that summoner heal as well. Have they got the damage? There's the Mega Inferno bomb. Wow, Nuke actually dodged it. Ah, he gets caught up there though. In the end, Kevin now falling low. He will just walk away. Freeze falls low. He uses a Valkyrie to get back out. That's the laser coming in as well from Vel'Koz, and they managed to knock Millenium away from it. Kevin went super low. The only casualty in the end of that one was Nuke.
Nuke was the only guy going down here. Again, NiP, when you're out of position, when Millenium feel confident, they will just engage. They don't hesitate at all. Went for him here. He managed to dodge the ultimate from Kerb, but still, there were so many members from Millenium to kill him, and in the end, they just take a very nice kill, and they can keep doing this, keep delaying NiP for doing anything on the map, and it's, as we talked about, the longer we go in the game, the better it is for Millenium.
Kevin himself has now that Void staff in there. Obviously, Xerath and the Rod of Ages already done a good while ago in this game. That gold still sitting close. It's 1,000 gold at the end of the day. 41 minutes into the game. We, by this point, in most games, see a considerably larger advantage for one side. Scorpion just waiting to see what poke he can get down with that vision that he's got. Cornex off to the side as well. We have how many Banshees Veils here? 1, but there's at least another 3 coming up by the looks of it here. That's going to help them out a little bit for that initial burst that comes through from the spear or from whoever that poke may land from.
It's a very good item against something like Nidalee to plug it if, because again, Millenium's been doing a very good job dodging around, and then if you do mess up, get hit by one, the Banshee will grab it for you. And of course, if you look at NiP side as well, engage-wise, they actually need Zora Zero to flank around them or hold vertical land through. And that's where the Banshees again is gonna help them avoid these cocoons. Whoa, NiP actually starting a 2-man Baron. 3 members are baiting here in the mid lane. They're taking out pretty fast. No pings for Millenium yet. They haven't moved towards it. Curb could check with his ultimate, but they have absolutely no idea this is going on because there's 3 members from NiP.
This is so sneaky from NiP. You see that from Millennium's positioning. They have no idea that this one is actually going off, and there it is. Baron snuck in there from Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Such a smart move. I believe because they kept Zora Zero here, Millenium would expect him to be one of them at the Baron. Of course, the Bruiser, very good at taking down Barons, tank it for a long time. But because he was in the mid lane, he didn't even split push. He was just sitting in the mid lane. They're like, eh, nothing's going on. Don't worry. Smart move though by NiP, getting the Baron. And now they really need to use this advantage. They have to push up and just land some spears, land some poke from Vel'Koz, from Corgi, and try and force down some towers. Otherwise, Millenium can just extend the game like we saw in the last game and go to this late game point where I'm just looking at Kevin already. 4 items, Void Staff and everything. Like, he's already a monster on Rise.
Well, if anything was said by NiP to each other after that last game, it surely must be we have to be more aggressive when we have an advantage, when we have that Baron buff on, because at the end of the day, they didn't capitalize on the advantages in that last game. This time, though, we already see them starting to move through the enemy jungle. Going to be taking away not only the creeps, but surely getting some wards down there as well. Actually, there's a wave pushing decently onto the inner turret in the bottom lane, so you imagine that might be their next target. Already seen more Banshees Veils starting to appear. AD carry mid lane, jungler, and soon to be the top lane are going to have Banshees Veils in there. That makes it a lot harder when it comes to the poke game, but they have so much poke, I think, here at NiP, that they can pop those Banshees without too much problem.
He's like Zora Zero here, popping every single Banshee. Breeze got one of them, and then Zora Zero got the rest of his ultimate. Kevin actually took a lot of damage. This is what they need. Get someone low so they're forced to recall. They can go in, get some hits on the tower, and make sure Millenium can never engage onto it.
Of course, that wave clear remains strong for Millenium, and we'll see how much of a problem that becomes. The minefield put down, the bouncing bombs coming through as well. Finally, that minion wave does make it through. There's a Mega Inferno Bomb, didn't really do all that much damage, and that is of concern. Zora Zero, you notice they're tanking up this turret, and they finally push Millenium away. That's going to be turret number 4 for NiP.
Millenium needs, NiP needs to keep doing this. They can't just back away now. I mean, this is the time for them where they can regen from the Baron buff, and at the same time, just try and land some poke, because if they back away now, they're just going to buy Millenium more time. It's a thing we've seen before. They need to stay here and continue to push up, and they just need to land some good poke, get the tower like they just did before.
Oh, back up here. Zora Zero got his ultimate back up as well. We see he just uses that in there, throws them out. See you later, Banshees Veils. Kevin getting hit by the spear. Actually, Cocoon landed onto Curb, so he will be taking a little bit more damage than he maybe would have liked to in that scenario. And they're trying their best to hold on to this one, but honestly, that poke is so ridiculously strong coming out of NiP's side.
Oh, that spear could mean at least a few extra hits on the tower. Every single one counts for them. Getting some very good damage in. Let's see here. Jerry, he's sitting down here at the bottom of your screen, looking to engage, and NiP actually backs away now. Minion wave was cleared out. Dragon is up. Yes, they can go get the dragon here, but the Baron buff will be running out, and they won't actually be able to push on for the next one here. So Millenium only lost 1 tower. They should be happy.
Yeah. Very much a sneaky chance Baron there as well from NiP, so although they take that maybe not feeling quite strong enough to be going all out on that push, this time they actually have to turn around. I like this from Millenium, moving very quickly towards this inner turret in the mid lane. They're going to take it down as well. Doesn't get much better as a response as to what they just did there.
No, very good move. They knew NiP would go for the dragon, so they just rushed up the mid lane, got the turret, already taking a lot of damage from before.
Oh, wow.
And now towards the top lane, big wave. NiP is stuck in the mid lane, not reacting at all.
Trying to move up there with Irelia, but that's not going to be quick enough. They're going to get another inner turret here, so NiP, despite getting that Baron, losing out a little bit here in terms of the turrets. And now look at this, Cornex going in. They managed to lock up Zora Zero to the point where he has to flash over the wall. Honestly, the the Death Ray not really doing all that much from Mythic. And in the end, NiP do force him to back away, but 2 quick turrets from Millenium. Very strong move.
And NiP, they were the team with the Baron buff. Because they went for Dragon, Millenium instantly responded, took mid, took top turret. Very good movements around the map, very fast calls here, good rotations from them, and making sure they don't fall behind in gold, at least not by much. So coming up here for the next fight, we need to see if NiP feel confident going down as 5 members again, trying to do the same and just rely on the heals from Nuke here to sustain themselves, or they actually feel like we have to play passive now because we don't want Millenium just engage onward.
We'll be finding out here shortly. The farm continues on that one. Just to go back to a couple of items recently picked up in the 47th minute of this game. The Aegis for Leona, Infinity Edge now in there for Corki, Azonia's for Nuke on Nidalee. Frozen Heart finished off as well here for Zoro Zero on Irelia. That puts them in good stead with 140 until the next Baron buff comes in.
Gonna be very strong, especially Zoro Zero. So tanky, a lot of damage, a lot of mobility for him. He's really gonna be one of the people NiP needs to have, like, he can play a perfect team fight. He can get a kill on someone like Curb, like Creaton, or maybe peel for Freeze to kill the Nocturne. We saw it in the last game. He actually went back and kept trying to kill Cotnex with Freeze. Simply also because Freeze couldn't do anything by himself. It's gonna be the same deal here. I mean, look at Cotnex as well. He's very, very strong.
I have forced Millenium to back away from this one for now. Jerry was trying to recall earlier. Now we'll get the chance to actually finish that one off and head back home to do a little bit more shopping up.
Jumping in the wall.
Yeah.
It always happens when the camera's
It's a bad look omen, I think. When the camera's following you, it's like, uh-oh. No pressure to make these little jumps over the wall. Got it the second time around, though, so let's not be too harsh on him for that. Half a minute now for that Baron to come up. That's going to be a big... I mean, we saw a lot of Barons the last game. We're probably going to see quite a lot of Barons in this one. Certainly the second one of the game now coming in as the poke continues. That Leander is, of course, added into the damage that Mythic can now do with the Vel'Koz. There we see the bombs coming over. In its own right, strong poke from Millenium's side as well.
Yeah, but Curb, of course, decided to go, oh, here's the engage!
Gonna go in towards Nuke. Actually, there's a lot of damage coming in from it. They dive right to the backside. Cotnex going for Mythy on this one. He's got 2 men actually trying to take him down, but he's got a Guardian Angel, and now he turns over towards Alberto. Can he actually get the kill? He's gonna go into the tower. Creaton takes a big hit. There's a Phosphorus Bomb, not enough damage there to come through. Alberto did repel and was able to survive, so in the end, just a 1 for nothing, but that was in time for the Baron spawn, and Millenium turned back around to it.
And Zoro Zero was stuck down in the bot lane. He didn't even join in. He tried to teleport up, but it was way behind Millenium, so he cancelled it. He wasn't there. And just Cotnex, the power of this Nocturne, going in all by himself, getting a kill. NiP, they don't even have enough damage to kill him here. And this should actually be the Baron for Millenium, but NiP tried to respond by pushing here. Could still be risky. Creaton down to 50% HP. But yeah, NiP, they need to move now.
Yeah, they're gonna move on for this one. A big spear from the side can be a big Baron stealing moment as they get the ward over. They see it, but it's too late. Millenium pick up the second Baron of the game, and they're gonna back away to spend all that gold that they get from that one. So far, looking pretty good from this 2,000, over 2,000 gold to spend for Curb. Over 1,000 for both Rise and Lucian here as well. So next time around, not only that Baron buff, but an extra spike there in items as well.
I really gotta give Millenium credit for the way they play this comp. Yes, there's not been a lot of kills this game, and actually every time they do go in, they only get like 1 kill. But they see the chances and they go for them with, like, Jerry flashed ultimated there. Followed up then by Nocturne coming in. Teleport was late from Zoro Zero. He had to cancel it. He couldn't join in. Simply meant NiP had no answer for the fight, and that's what Millenium has been doing all game long now. Whenever there was a chance to get 1 kill, they would pick it up. Whenever there was a chance to get a dragon, they would take it as well. So Millenium just, I wouldn't say outplaying NiP in team fights, but at least simply because Millenium is in control of the engages, they've been using them perfectly, leaving very little room for NiP to respond.
Push here then from Millenium, trying to gain some real control over the map. The red buff here will be going over to Freeze, but Millenium already starting to work in there. See spear coming through. Cotnex didn't even get his GA popped in that, and that's after diving into 3 men. Right at the back was alone for quite a while, and you have to give the credit here to Cotnex. We were wondering if he could come up big for Millenium today, if he could play when that Kha'Zix has banned to his max potential. Can't say anything bad about him in these last 2 games, that's for sure.
Definitely not. His Nocturne has been perfect for him. I mean, 2 games in a row now. Being the guy in the front line, just surviving it. We talked about how NiP's comp in the late game is not anything to be too proud of. I mean, the damage falls off for multiple of the champions when it goes into the late game. Also the support, of course. And that's why Connex can just dive in there. He can survive it, doesn't even get his GA pop because, again, the damage is not there from NiP at the moment.
Well, they're gonna dive here on these turrets. You see the Cornex actually pushing out that top wave. So using his spell shield in there as well to try and keep himself from taking too much damage as they edge forward. This time though, he's got 2 men on him and this could be a little bit dangerous for him, or not. He's feeling confident enough. NiP not feeling strong enough to actually keep going. And it was Millenium that was trying to get in there onto that middle turret, knowing it would be a 4v3 there, just to get a hit or 2 onto that one. We have to say here, it's Millenium now that have the advantage, that are in the position that NiP were in that last game. It is already 53 minutes into this game there, so Millenium definitely reaching this point a little bit later, but that also fits into the fact that Kevin has now racked himself up to that late game beastly rise.
Full items on the rise, it's so scary. Like, look how tanky he is, the damage he can do. If NiP want actually going for a fight, they need a perfect fight. They need someone like Connex to not even be there, so it's only 4 members from Millenium. Otherwise, it's gonna be so hard for them to do anything. Maybe if they land like the Cocoon and then Spear from Nuclear onto a squishy target, and then just instantly kill someone like Kraton, they could have a chance, but it's gonna be very hard for them, and they need Millenium to make mistakes.
Kraton, I feel, only needs to have the right positioning in this one. It's going to be hard from anyone from NiP to, outside of maybe Zoro Zero, to dive onto him and actually get the damage there that they need to take him out of this game. Here's another Dragon actually going over to Millenium after they back away. And of course, that Baron buff will be running out very, very shortly as well. And the fact is, the base still stands here for NiP, so another Baron.
You can use the time, though, to talk about next game. What could potentially happen next game when it comes to...
Really? You want to go there?
Picks and bans.
You're going with that one thinking that Millenium win this game, right?
No, actually not. I just go with the fact that I think NiP, by picking weaker late game comps 2 games in a row now and not showing the ability to close out games, they should go for a late game comp themselves for the next game. That's actually the point I was gonna go towards. Because Millenium, again, they're just happy doing just farming away for 20 minutes, and then you have this very strong late game comp, and it's perfectly fine for them. So NiP, they need to do the same in response unless they feel like they can do what they did in game 1 and just win the game relatively early. But the TF was a big part there, and that's been banned away. Now Millenium going in.
Scrying Orb was used, and they follow straight up with Connex diving into the middle of them. A lot of damage. Zoro Zero trying to keep them back, but he's going to fall. It's a shutdown, and look at Connex. He does not care about the damage. He wanted to get onto Freeze. Has to maybe settle for Nuke Duck. Fear is going to go down. Connex now backs away. He's GA popped by a spear, actually, in the end. And that is now Kevin being stunned up. Not enough damage to finish him off. The bomb's bouncing in there. They've done enough to walk through. They've managed to lock up Nuke Duck as well. Not enough time, though, to get the finishing blow. But they take the inhibitor. They're going to have the inhibitor as well.
Such a strong team fight again by Millenium. Connex, he goes to the back line by himself, and he tanks up multiple members of NiP. Zoro Zero tried to do the same thing. He dropped very, very fast, and the Millenium could just chase up towards it, get down, get 2 kills, get down the tower as well, get down the inhibitor. I mean, things are just looking great for Millenium.
Nice to see a big fight and kill. Ooh, that's a spear. Half HP of Kraton. Nice to see a big fight and kill set up there with the Scrying Orb in that mid lane.
That too.
Throwing it straight down there and saying, okay, we go for that one. Connex having no fear at all to dive into 5 men, while the rest of his team were quite far behind, to be honest.
But they were killing Zoro Zero, so they just traded. Well, okay, they didn't actually trade because
he didn't die.
Took such a long time to die, and when he actually did die, his Guardian Angel was there, so technically he never died, and it was fine for Millenium. And it's funny to see the 5 sweeping lenses on the side of NiP. They want to deny as much vision as possible, but they don't actually get any vision by themselves. So it means that, as we saw before here, Millenium could just set up for this one. As soon as NiP moved down the mid lane, they just started to engage, popped the Scrying Orb, got the vision, just went straight in for it.
33 seconds until another Baron comes up in this one. We've seen a lot of Barons through these last 3 games. We're probably going to hit a around the amount of Barons that we're taking in a full season, as we are going to see Carnex diving in once again on towards Zoro0. This time the fear sends him away, and actually Zoro0 is forced to flash completely away from that one, knowing that the fear direction was probably going to be the end of him. Gets away from it though, and now they're trying to turn this poke back onto Millenium.
This is the time for NiP. There's no ultimate from Codnex. Jerry still got his ultimate, so they can still start a fight, but Codnex won't be able to get to the back line like he always does. So this is the time for NiP to land the poke and try to force a Baron.
Well, let's see, Millenium holding on to this mid lane, may say, okay, you go for that Baron. We're just going to run straight up middle, so you've got to basically make the move then. You either go and commit to that Baron and possibly lose some of your base, or you're going to have to come out and fight us in that mid lane. As it happens, it looks like Millenium have chosen to back off somewhat from this one. Certainly Carnex wants himself that red buff, but they need to stick around because NiP are still hovering here on that Baron area.
Millenium now can also just wait out the time until the Guardian Angel is ready again for Codnex here. He actually sold his boots, so he's like fully stacked item-wise. Just needs the Guardian Angel, and he can always dive in and don't even need to think about dying because he can just resurrect again. NiP though didn't actually manage to land anything after the ultimate was gone, so Millenium in the position, starting off the Baron here. Millenium or NiP staying nearby. 2 members pushing the mid lane here. There's a tower they can actually push down towards, but then Millenium can just start the Baron very fast.
And actually they can just go for a fight. Carnex again going to dive in again. The Scrying Orbs used. They've caught Nukeduck out here, and there is the fear. The bomb comes in, uses the Zhonya's, but as soon as he comes back up, he's dead. It's Carnex that gets that one. It's now 5v4. Millenium turn. Are they going to go straight to Baron, or are they going to try and push through here?
So there's no minion wave for them, but they can rotate to the top lane, take down the tower, take down the inhibitor, or they can go straight for the Baron here. There's of course the risk of Roberto stealing it away, so if they, as long as they keep some members out here to try and zone him away from the Baron pit, they should be able to take this one fairly easily. NiP though, still 4 members around this area here, could try something.
I think they're going to have to give this one away. We see Zoro0 coming in on that bottom side. A little bit of damage here to Jerry and Kevin, but that Baron already going very, very low. Zoro0 going to get in there. The Baron has gone, of course, over towards Millenium. Kerp actually jumping away there. They got the kill, so 2 men are down. 70-second spawn timer. Ray just doesn't really do any damage, and there is the surrender coming out. 4 ninjas in Pyjamas. Millenium go 2-1 up. And 1 game away from the summer split. Incredible stuff.
And we really need to expect NiP to come in with different picks for the next game. 2 games in a row now, Millenium dragging the game out, doing so well. As soon as they get to team fights, this game around was actually a bit more aggressive from Millenium because they could actually engage fights early on. That's why they didn't fall behind in gold. And Nukeduck, he does not look like a guy about to win a game.
No, that's the scary, scary thing for Ninjas in Pyjamas. That facial expression, the obvious, downturn in fortune being on the steps of Millenium's base, just what seemed like moments away from a 2-0 lead, actually was quite a long way away from a 1-1 and now a 2-1 deficit that they have to Millenium. They switched it up from going to that very split push comp into a poke and siege comp, which never really got off the ground for them. I mean, they took down all the outer turrets and an inner turret in the bottom lane, but they never got the ability to go any further than that.
Because, first of all, lost 2 dragons, which they should have picked up.
Should have had, yeah.
And then also, whenever they split up, we just saw Millenium start the engage, Jerry, Codnex going in, pick up a kill, delay the game.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. It's very few kills this game. I believe it's like 5-4. To Millenium for a long, long time because they just wanted to delay the game, just wanted to go late game, because I don't know if the faces from NiP here are telling me we don't really have an answer to this late game stuff. I mean, we've been banning LeBlanc, Jax, and Kha'Zix in every game. They need to change this up here. I agree on the Jax one, I agree on the Kha'Zix one. They need to let LeBlanc go through. They have to ban away something else, like the Nocturne here from Codnex, because it's doing so much work for Millenium and for him as a player.
Well, if you're going to ban Kha'Zix in the first place, you obviously put a lot of emphasis on how strong Codnex can be. And if he's doing that on Nocturne, then surely he's worth a ban as well.
Or give him the Kha'Zix. Leave it open. Ban LeBlanc, ban away the Jax, and find something else, Ziggs or Rise or something. Ban this one away. Give him the Cossacks so he won't be able to do the same kind of engages like we've seen him do in these 2 games here. Making it so hard for NiP to split push, making it hard for them to team fight. And then NiP just need to go in here and say, we need late game team fight comps as well. Because we don't know how to shut down Millenium hard enough without Twisted Fate. Because he's been banned away since game 1. So we don't have the answer here to beat Millenium in the early mid-game anymore in the same way like we did in game 1 with Twisted Fate. So we need to pick teamfight comps, we need to pick late-game teamfight comps as well. So we don't mind the game going to 60, 70 minutes because it's going to be in our favor or it's going to be 50-50 and then about the individual skill in the teamfights.
We have to say, though, once their heads go down, and we've seen it before,
yes,
not just once, but a couple of times on this stage right here, that once these guys fall behind and start to lose games, their heads drop so quickly that they're not in a good place coming into a game where they have to win now.
And it's the worst thing about it, again, is you need to change up what you've been doing the last 2 games. It's not like, oh, it was a very, very close game, we almost won it in the end. Even the 76-minute game was actually in favor of Millenium for the last like 20 minutes. So it wasn't like NiP could say we were so close in the late game, we almost won this and this and this. No, because they would look at it and say, we lost because we had a worse comp in late game and we couldn't do anything to end the game. So going into this game, we just got to see changes from NiP, and it's going to be very hard for them to actually get up mentally and ready for this.
Well, it's game point for Millenium. We are, however, before that, going to head over once again to Shox, Demon, and Dexter.
Thank you very much, Joe. Indeed, coming in here now, Millenium taking 2 games